A cup of Wendy's chili does not look like a mystery. Warm beef, beans, tomatoes, a plastic spoon. You have probably ordered one on a cold weeknight when a burger felt like too much, but fries were not enough. Maybe it came beside a baked potato. Maybe someone in your family got one every winter without thinking twice. But here's something that might surprise you. The beef in that cup was never made to be chili beef. It was made to be a Wendy's burger. Cooked patties pulled from the grill are still safe, still hot, but no longer perfect enough for a fresh sandwich. That is the solution to a problem created by Wendy's own fresh beef promise, and most people have the story backwards. Columbus, Ohio, 1969. Dave Thomas opens the first Wendy's with 5 things on the menu: hamburgers, chili, fries, soft drinks, and the Frosty. Not burgers first and chili added later. Both from day one, built into the same kitchen system. Thomas had a bet most people in the industry thought was reckless. Square patties, fresh beef, never frozen. No heat lamps warming pre-made sandwiches under orange light. Your burger gets cooked when you order it. And if nobody orders fast enough, that patty does not wait under glass for the next customer. Inside the kitchen, that promise creates a problem frozen patty chains never face. Fresh beef on a flat-top grill has a window. The patty cooks, hits its mark, and starts the clock. For a few minutes, it is at its best, juicy, hot, structurally right for a bun. Miss that window and the patty is still safe, still above every threshold. But the texture is shifting. The moisture is leaving. It is no longer the burger Wendy's promised. Now you have good cooked beef with nowhere to go. Throw it away and your food cost bleeds. Serve it anyway, and you break the one promise that separates you from McDonald's. Thomas needed a second destination for beef that missed its first one. He built it into the plan before he served a single customer. Here is the thing nobody tells you. The journey starts before the beef reaches the restaurant. Refrigerated trucks deliver fresh, never frozen ground beef to each location. Temperature monitored from warehouse to walk-in cooler. This is the same beef that becomes your burger and the same beef that could become your chili. Same truck, same cold chain, same animal. In the kitchen, fresh beef is formed into square patties and pressed onto a flat-top grill. The square shape is not decoration, it is a visual contract. Round patties look like every other chain. Square patties hang over the edge of the bun and say, "This was not stamped from a frozen puck." Here is where the clock starts. The FDA food code requires ground beef to reach an internal temperature of 155 degrees Fahrenheit and hold that temperature for at least 15 seconds. Once the patty hits that mark, it enters what the industry calls the holding window. Fully cooked, fully safe, but minute by minute, the texture firms, the moisture drops, and the gap between safe to eat and good enough for a fresh Wendy's burger widens. The danger zone for cooked food sits between 41 and 135 degrees Fahrenheit. Stay above that floor and nothing is wrong from a safety standpoint. But Wendy's draws a second line, an internal quality line well above the safety floor. When a patty crosses that quality threshold, a crew member pulls it from the grill, not into the trash, into a stainless steel container. Picture it, a gloved hand lifting a square patty off the flat top and setting it into a metal pan. No bun, no wrapper, no customer, just beef changing jobs. Those patties get chopped or crumbled into smaller pieces. The square shape disappears. What looked like a burger 3 minutes ago now looks like chili meat. The crumbled beef joins a base built separately of diced onions, celery, green peppers, chili peppers, kidney beans, pinto beans, tomato juice, and a seasoning blend with cumin, garlic, paprika, and chili powder. This is not a dump and stir shortcut. The base has its own flavor architecture. The beef joins a recipe that was already in motion. Then it simmers. This is the step that separates Wendy's chili from canned soup with ground meat stirred in. Heat and time let the beef absorb the tomato and spice. The flavors stop sitting next to each other and start becoming one thing. Finished chili moves into a hot holding unit, portioned into cups, and served with a sleeve of crackers or ladled over a split-baked potato. Truck, grill, window, container, chop, base, simmer, cup. One system built around one rule. Fresh beef that misses its first roll does not get wasted. It gets reassigned. Most fast food chains cook from frozen. The patty travels from a freezer to a grill to a bun. If demand slows, the inventory waits at minus 18 degrees Celsius until tomorrow. No timing crisis. No backup plan needed. Frozen beef does not have a window. It has a shelf life measured in months. Wendy's chose fresh. Fresh beef is impatient. It demands a system for what happens when the grill moves faster than the register. That system is chili. A patty that crosses the quality line does not get discarded. It changes roles. The standard for simmered chili beef is different from the standard for a fresh burger. A braised stew does not need the same moisture profile as a sandwich. That is not a loophole. That is how professional kitchens have always worked. Here is where the story flips. Most people hear leftover burgers in the chili and assume Wendy's is cutting corners. The word leftover sounds like something forgotten in the back of a fridge. The truth runs the opposite direction. If Wendy's used frozen patties like most competitors, there would be no timing problem to solve. Frozen beef waits. It does not age on a grill. It does not need a second destination. A chain that never has surplus cooked beef is almost certainly not cooking it fresh. Wendy's chili is not a failure of the fresh beef promise. It is the consequence of keeping it. The chili exists because Wendy's chose the harder path and engineered a system to make it work without waste. Next time someone tells you Wendy's chili is made from leftover burgers, they are not wrong, but they are telling the boring version of a smarter story. Leftover, in a restaurant kitchen, does not mean what it means at home. At home, leftovers from Tuesday's dinner are reheated on Thursday. In a fresh beef kitchen, it means reassigning the beef did not expire, did not sit for days. It changed jobs within the same shift. This does not make Wendy's chili a healthy food. It is still fast food sodium, seasoning blends, and a flavor profile built for speed. But the beef question, the one that resurfaces online every few years, has a cleaner answer than most people expect. If you grew up watching Dave Thomas in the commercials, the chili was always part of the pitch. If you know Wendy's from the Twitter account and spicy nuggets, the chili is the quietest item on the menu, and the one that shows how the whole operation runs behind the counter. The misconception was never about beef. It was about the word. Leftover sounds like a problem. In Wendy's kitchen, it was designed as a solution. That cup of chili, warm beef, beans, tomatoes, plastic spoon, started as a square patty on a flat-top grill. It just changed roles before it reached your hands. That is the process. We reveal how things actually work, one story at a time. If there is something you would like us to explore next, let us know. Until then, trust the process.